that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, Weapons is now in theaters, and it is holding a robust 96% critic rating and an extremely high 90% audience rating. We heard a lot of people talking. We heard a lot of people being excited. We heard a lot of people, just basically talking about how great this movie's going to be and how great this movie is and how much they can't wait to see it and all that kind of jazz. And we finally had a chance to see it yesterday. Rob and I saw it separately, but we went to go see the movie yesterday. I went to go see it at 2:17 p.m., which is, of course, is the time in the middle of the night when all the children disappear. And I will tell you my thoughts. First of all, let me say, it is not my favorite film of the year. That title still, I believe, belongs to Sinners. And it is not in like my top 5 favorite horror films of all time. But it's real good. I had a great time with this movie, and I'll tell you why. Here's the main kind of thing to it that made me just absolutely love it. When you're talking about comedy, you guys have heard me say this before. When you're talking about comedy and horror are very unique amongst all the other genres. In the sense of, if you're doing a biopic, you need to do a lot well in the movie to make it work. If you're doing a historical piece, you got to do a lot well to make it work. If you're making a dramatic thriller, you got to do a lot to make the movie good overall, right? There's no just one or two things you can do well and do everything else badly and expect to get away with it. But in comedy, you make people laugh, they'll forgive everything else that goes wrong in your movie. In horror, you deliver the chills and people will forgive almost everything else. And by that reasoning, there are a lot of classic horror films that I love, that I think are really good, that aren't necessarily strong in all areas, Rob. Like maybe there's some great classic horror films that don't necessarily have the best script or the best narrative structure or, all that kind of stuff. To me, Weapons is a movie of what happens when you cross good horror with great storytelling. This is a movie that is a representation of good horror mixed with great storytelling. I have never, this isn't a spoiler, if you haven't seen the movie, you'll have no idea what this means. I have never had the sound of a door opening freak me out so much in a movie. And once you see the movie, you'll know what I mean. You don't even see it. You just hear a door. And that's like everybody in my theater, you can hear going, like gasping. It was kind of crazy. So it delivered some good chills. It delivered some good horror elements, right? But there are many movies that tell their story from multiple points of view. Right? We've seen a lot of movies do that. It's not rare where like you're seeing the story told from one character's point of view and then they switch it to a different character's point of view and it fills in gaps. I've rarely seen that motif done better than in Weapons. Like, because when they switch to the next person's perspective, not only does it tell you the events of what's going on from a different point of view, each time they switch people's perspectives, it fills in different gaps of the story. So you as the audience member are piecing together the story as you're moving on. And then by the time it got to the end of it, I mean, I was thrilled. And Rob, this is what I said in my out of theater reaction. And I'm giving nothing away. I'm not going to explain how it does this or whatever. I walked out of the theater feeling very satisfied. To me, it was a very satisfying ending. Even some of the horror films I really love, I don't walk out with a satisfied feeling or a feeling like it had a satisfied ending. Now, the one issue that Ann and I talked about in the car coming home was, and I'll break this down into generalities, but it can basically fall under the heading of inconsistent logic within the story itself.
Yes.
Now, don't get me wrong. Where it is rock solid is in all of it's not like two different points of view contradicted each other. That was perfect. Like all the various points of view, everything just flowed together and fit together like puzzle pieces. But when you stand back at the overall global view of the movie, particularly when it comes to one character, and we won't say which character it is, but there's one character whose motivations and things that they do so meticulously in one way, yet so sloppy in another, it just kind of feels a little bit inconsistent on that way. But Rob, for me, that didn't take anything away from the movie. For me, I left feeling fully satisfied, had a great time with it, thought it was a well-told story. Again, I don't think it's going to end up in my top 3 or 4 best movies of the year, but I walked out having had a really good time. And Ann and I, this is a good sign of that. Ann and I ended up just talking about the movie for like a good hour after it. So actually, you got the text message she sent out. She was very proud of that text message, by the way.
She sent out an emoji. She wrote weapons in emojis.
Yeah, she told the whole story of weapons.
She told the whole story
in like
of
50 emojis.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. My favorite was she added the bowl. The bowl.
Yes, which again, you won't know what that means.
Yeah.
But so Rob, you were more excited about this movie than I was. What was your overall impressions with the film? What worked? What didn't work? How did you feel about it?
Well, first of all, I think I had read the script, and it was, in fact, the script that I read. But watching a finished film is very different than reading a screenplay. And I would say that the movie is very well directed. It's very well put together. The actors did a phenomenal job. From a technical standpoint, it was great. I was deliriously excited to see this movie. Like, really, really excited. Like you said, for me, where the movie fell short is totally in universe. So I can't even explain where my problems with the movie come in and why they exist, but they're all in universe. And for me to address those points would diminish the experience of anyone seeing the movie. But I'll just say this. When you are creating horror, science fiction, and fantasy, and there is an element of, say, the supernatural, and I'm not saying there is an element of the supernatural in this movie, but if there was, you have to set up rules and you have to explain, like, we need to know. I'll give you a perfect example. The movie The Ring, as outlandish as it is, when you find out, you put in the videotape, you get a phone call, you hear 7 days. I mean, who cares if Sadako or Samara are in the afterlife somewhere with a clock ticking down going, oh, you watched my videotape, I'm going to call you on the phone. You don't even think about that. You just go, the movie presents its rules. And if you think about, like, where is Sadako or Samara when she's making these phone calls, it doesn't matter. They set up the rules and you go with them. You never question yourself when you're watching The Ring. And The Ring is effing great. Both the Japanese version and Gore Verbinski's version. In this movie, the end of the film, there were so many logic issues for me. I was asking, the big question is, why? And I'm just going to say why. And I'm going to leave it there. And I wanted to know more. I felt, but it's a horror film, so I think a lot of people just don't care, and they're going to go with it. My audience seemed to really enjoy the film, but I went with a friend of mine who's an author, and we had a 2-hour conversation afterwards in the theater. We went to the bar and just sat there and talked the logic. I haven't had a 2-hour conversation about a movie in forever. Right after I saw it. And I mean, I guess that's a good thing, because clearly the movie affected us and we were interested in talking about it, and we did a deep dive. But I think a lot of people that have seen a lot of horror movies might have the same issues with this movie that I do, but they're all in universe. You're not going to come away, I think, from seeing that movie and going, it sucked, because it didn't. It was really entertaining and it was really well made. I just have problems with in-universe inconsistencies, and I can't go further than that without, diminishing the experience of seeing the movie. But I would encourage everybody to go see it, because it is so interesting. You don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, no, you don't. And it's a slow burn. It's definitely it's a great example, Rob, of a movie that showcases the fact that slow burn does not equal slow, right? It's not a slow movie, but it's a slow
not at
burn.
all.
You know what I mean? And again, to me, I think the part that impressed me the most with the film, that I liked most, was how well written it is, in the sense that it's not one of these things that tells the story from 3 different characters' point of view. It tells it from like 7 characters' points of view. And it's written so well, like it all flows together so naturally. And because I remember as I picked up on what they were doing, I thought this could go off the rails, but it doesn't. And again, for me, it was just one issue with one character with their in-universe train of thought or logic.
But, yes.
But other than that, yeah, it totally worked for me. Anyway, guys.
I felt that way when I read the script too. I'm like, wait a minute. And I figured that in the finished film, they would address these issues that I had, but they did not. It was the script I read. But I think it's going to be, I look forward to the discourse about this movie for the next month online. I can't wait to read what everyone's going to say about it.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What did you think about Weapons? Did you have a chance to go out and see it? By the way, did you see it actually beat Freakier Friday on the Thursday night screenings? Like, it made $5 million on preview night, and Freakier Friday made $3 million. I'm not surprised though, because Weapons is the type of movie that'll get more people out on the Thursday night than Freakier Friday. Well, I think Freakier Friday will have much better numbers in its weekend, but we'll see how that all pans out. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.